We play and call it work.
Hey everybody, you're about to watch an episode of the Reroll that we filmed yesterday, but when we went to edit it, we realized that the camera was out of focus. Normally what we would do is just scrap it and redo it, but this time we've been so busy, having trouble even trying to make time for the Reroll. We're going to put it out anyway. Just so you know, we're apologizing for the video quality. Next time won't happen, but it's more of an audio thing anyway. Just listen to us ramble.
Well,
sorry
really,
about that.
The fuzziness improves the way we look.
I'm not going to lie, it's kind of right.
Yeah.
Kind of dulls the lens flare off his forehead.
Just a bit. Just a bit.
Enjoy, guys.
Hey there, Wargamers, and welcome to another episode of the Reroll. We realize it's been a little while since we've gotten the last episode out here.
Been a couple of weeks.
Yeah, there's been some scheduling issues. We've been really busy here. Lots of people come in during the summer. Steve actually did a trip with Dave.
Spent some time in Washington, D.C., so our American brothers to the south. You have a very beautiful capital, I can say that. Mm-hmm. It was actually awesome.
Not like our gray, depressing Ottawa. But anyway, so sorry about that. We are back, and we are going to try and make this more regularly as a result. So we have a couple topics we want to discuss today. First one that this one's kind of been nagging at Steve a little bit is the quality of models.
Quality of models.
Yeah, and he has a very specific example in mind that we'll get to when we actually start discussing it. But the idea, I think, is we're just going to talk about quality of the models, of the process, and cleaning it and getting them ready, and what we like to work with and what we don't.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then we'll see where the discussion goes from there. As always, we are going to show you guys what we've been working on as well, because you'll see some of the small stuff up at the front there. So let's kick it off. Steve, I want to know, what is the model you're having issues with?
So, I mean, many of you have seen my models and pictures on Facebook and whatnot. I'm not big on filling every gap. I don't clean every mold line. I'm more about, getting it painted, putting it on the table. The latest kits I've been working on was mostly Age of Sigmar stuff. I think most of you are aware of that, where I'm working on all the new molds as they come in, trying to paint them up as fast as I can. And I got to some of the new terrain, some of the stuff that was sold out quite fast. And something, it's a little different about this stuff. I'm not going to turn this whole Reroll into a review video.
No.
I don't think we're there, but it just, when I first unwrapped this stuff, I believe both of you were in the room with me at the time.
Yeah.
One of you, I'm not sure which one, commented on the fact that the plastic looks a little different. And
yeah, that was me. Yeah, it's not as dark as the plastic we're seeing out of Games Workshop right now.
It feels different. It is not a snug fit that we're used to with Games Workshop. So the first ones I assembled were these two gates. Now, there's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pieces, I believe, in this kit, and the plastic is a little warped. I don't know if this is just my experience with these two gates, or if everybody's getting them like that. The plastic was not, you kind of have to bend them where they need to be. It's a very easy assembly. There's not much of put this here or there. It snaps here, and that's it. And you get little gaps. That's minor, not that bad.
But it's very interesting coming from Games Workshop.
That's the point.
Yeah, because lately they've really been pushing the whole company in line of they are a miniature company, not a game company. And to have let's get this out of the way first. The terrain though still looks good. Like when you look at it,
there's no denying that.
Yeah, it still looks good.
It's got great minor details all the way through.
Yep.
One thing that I noticed just when you guys mentioned that is like the quality of the plastic. It looks different. It's darker. Is that just like the flames coming out of the web way they're firm. They're not. Yeah. They don't have any give to them.
Yeah, whereas, it feels almost more brittle.
Yeah, whereas a lot of the stuff that for example, Privateer Press, a lot of the resin stuff that Games Workshop makes, a lot of the older plastic models that Games Workshop has, you can take a sword and you can full on just go like that with it, and it would have no trouble. This, I'm afraid to
it would definitely snap.
That would snap in a second.
And
so
it's kind of interesting because that actually has me a little bit worried. Like, yeah, the average gamer, it's probably not going to come up because they're not playing nearly as often as we are here. But with the amount of wear and tear that these models are going to get on them, it is kind of concerning.
So assembling these, I had to do something with just these two realm gates. I had to do something I haven't done on a Games Workshop product in a long time. I had to pull out the box of elastics. So as I was trying to, this archway is 2 pieces. It kind of, if you see my hands, they kind of go like this. I had to kind of push them together with elastics and keep them all tight because they kept bowing away from each other. Not typical from Games Workshop. I don't know what that's about, but it wasn't that bad. Like, okay, whatever, put some elastics on and not a big deal. Move on to this guy. And I'm sorry, but this is atrocious. This is bad.
It didn't seem to fit.
It looks like different pieces from different models trying to come together. It almost looks like you kind of converted it from a bunch of different train pieces.
So Comment below if you've assembled any of this new Games Workshop.
This
Plus.
one's the Ophidian Gate, I
The
believe?
Ophidian Archway.
Ophidian Archway, okay.
The pieces, they're bowed. They don't fit together well. If you start pushing them together, it'll pop out a different piece. If anybody's in the comment below, well, you have to go a certain way. The instructions don't really tell you perfectly. If you take some time to think about and line everything up, you can figure out how it goes. But no matter how many times I pulled it apart and tried to put it on a different way, things didn't quite line up. It's hard to see from way back there, but there's going to be a fair amount of green stuff on this model that I'm just not used to having to do with Games Workshop.
And it's really weird, especially considering the past couple of years with the sheer amount of CAD designed miniatures we've seen coming out from Games Workshop and other companies, where the CAD designs usually have a much snugger fit. Like you take a look at the newer AdMech style models or the Skitarii that
Beautiful models,
or not
beautiful.
the Skitarii, the Scions that came out last year, or some of the other more recent kits, and a lot of them they're snug, they fit together, and it just creates, you just need a little bit of glue to keep them together.
Absolutely. So on this model here, I used plastic glue like I normally do, and then because I couldn't get pieces to stay together. And I couldn't get good spots for elastic bands, and I even had clamps trying to hold these in place. Nothing really hold well together. I had to hold it with my hand until the plastic glue dried. So what I had to do in a few areas is put on a little bit of super glue and then activator.
Yeah.
Just to cheat, just to get it to hold a little bit. And I was planning on scraping that off later.
But still, like, it's
One thing I do want to say is that even though it doesn't go together very well, the actual pieces themselves,
Beautiful.
oh, they're still
absolutely
great,
gorgeous.
yeah.
Even like in the divot, like you probably can't see that again on camera here, but in here there's a little divot with a hammer. Behind that hammer, you can see little scratches and nicks in the stone behind it. This is something that no one would ever actually look at when they're playing the game, but the fact that Games Workshop went through the detail to actually put little nicks and divots into the stone in areas that most people wouldn't look anyway.
The design is absolutely
It's very pretty.
It's just unfortunate that the
Yeah.
physical quality
What I
of
think,
it is...
and I am by no means an expert, so this may not be the case, but I think it actually is the plastic itself.
Now,
yeah.
Yeah.
do you think part of it is because of the material that they're using, since Games Workshop is using... I keep wanting to say Privateer Press, and I'm sorry, but...
Feels like Privateer Press.
Okay.
No, it's out there.
No, that's not a crack. I mean,
No.
they don't have the technology or the funds to put on the same quality as GW.
But what I was going to say is that with it being a higher density plastic, is what I'm assuming, because of just the weight that it has
it's
and
heavier.
everything.
It's heavier.
Is it possible that with the heat wave that we've been getting, in shipping, the plastic may have warped a little bit, and that's why it's not
That's
going
a
together?
fair... It could be.
I don't know about that one. I mean,
Like that being said...
I've seen resin and finecasts stand up to similar heat without anything weird going on.
But the bowing, like that's...
No,
Like, that's not
understand
something that would happen during casting, so it is possible that during shipment or anything like that, the heat may have taken effect on it. So it's not something that I want to directly say every piece you're going to get is going to have this problem.
Yeah, that's why I want people to weigh in with their... Like,
Yeah.
Here's what I'm wondering. I wonder if this was not injection molded.
It was.
Are you sure?
You can see the injection molding.
Yeah, there are...
You can see the nibs just,
Okay.
just where you haven't cleaned quite yet there.
So
but
yeah,
there is
your
put-
cleaning job has gotten rid of a lot of that stuff.
Now,
Okay.
what does this mean? I'm not sure, but the actual injection ports, they're not the typical... If you're familiar with Privateer Press plastics, they're similar to that. How the actual injection lines or connection ports are a little bit wider. And instead of just kind of... It's hard to verbalize this. We're used to seeing the Games Workshop ones just being flush on the piece, and you can cut it off easily and do a little scrape and it's gone.
Yeah, this one's
one
having
actually-
it's having it where like this will be the piece itself, and you can see like almost an injection mold funneling into
Exactly,
that piece.
exactly.
So instead of just cutting the one tip here, you actually have to get in and shave the injection channel off of the piece.
So just so this doesn't turn into like I hate Games Workshop type thing. That's not what this is about.
No.
The Stormcast Eternal models that are coming out, that have come out and are coming out, like they are absolutely beautiful.
They are.
They go
Yeah.
together. Like I have some of the characters here that I'm working on. There's a little bit of green stuff on there, but it's so minor. If I didn't put the green stuff on, I wouldn't have been that big of a deal.
No, I saw them beforehand. It wasn't a huge deal. It was more
Very,
just
very,
to
very
keep things
minor.
nice and smooth.
Yeah, exactly. These guys did not need any work. Lots of detail, tiny models did not need any work. Is it plastic the same color? No, it's different color.
no, it's a different
Well,
shade.
that's the
Standard
other
Games
interesting
Workshop
thing. Yeah.
plastics.
Yeah. And just to kind of go back to something that happened to me a little bit earlier today is that with something like this, just the color of it and everything and the brittleness and everything, I was painting some boys and I dropped, well, you know how we have the staircase coming up to the back of the office? I dropped 20 boys off of that. That's a good 10-foot fall. They all bounced. They were fine. I think 2 of them, their arms broke and I just had to re-glue them. If I dropped this
I think it would
I'd be
shatter.
going to the store and buying another one
I
because
don't
this would
know-
be gone.
With the plastic glue, I don't necessarily know if it would shatter, but I do get what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
That there's something about it that it doesn't feel as high quality.
So if you see right here, this is 4 pieces all connected to the bottom.
Yep.
It's I'm going to show you guys. I don't know if you can see from way back there. But after it was done, I kind of poured plastic glue into the center funnel and smeared it on the edges in hopes that it would just melt it together. Because I actually am afraid about how much actual contact of plastic glue I got from here to here.
Yeah.
You see the curve, right? So I'm not. I'm really worried about the
But this was just a catalyst for what we wanted to discuss.
Absolutely,
And
yeah.
that's-
Yeah.
And what we actually want to discuss is overall quality of models, the various ranges and whatnot. Because, I mean, between the three of us, we've had experience with probably a good half dozen to dozen different game systems recently.
absolutely.
And I think one of the ideas we want to talk about is just how easy some models are to work on versus others. And the one I want to get Quirk's opinion first on this one because you've played a lot of War Machine, you still do, and I always found the War Machine models just a little bit difficult to work with.
Yep.
Just because I found that they didn't quite have the, I don't know if I want to say durability or what, but there was something about the models themselves where I felt like I would very easily screw it up.
And that's going to segue again into that right there.
Yeah.
Everybody, I got something for Leland.
All right, so I can't remember if it was the last episode or the one before it, but I questioned why everyone thought the Harbinger was such a terrible model to put together. And as a result, Quirk came back and put a Harbinger on my table. And I am going to be putting together this Harbinger and possibly crying
I'm
in the
looking forward to
process.
this.
We are going to film this.
It will be filmed.
It will be
Yeah,
great.
it will definitely be filmed. But yeah, like this could be part of it. No, I was thinking more of the plastic models that I've always had a bit of a hard time with the War Machine stuff.
Yep.
I couldn't quite get, they were a pain to work with.
They are. And that's nothing against Privateer Press. It's, again, the stage they're at with their model production. Their pewter stuff is by far a lot better than a lot of their plastic molds. They do have a plastic mold that just came out recently that was absolutely phenomenal, and that was the Convergence Battle Engine. That model literally went together on my desk, no glue. I did not use a drop of glue, and I was able to put that entire model together because the seams were so perfect, and it held that model together. Now, I did glue it because I didn't want it to fall apart on me.
Obviously, yeah.
But
But
they're...
the sculpt on that, okay, it's not the nicest model.
No, it's not
Did
aesthetically
it go
pleasing.
together because of well design, or
Yes.
just it did? Okay.
It did, absolutely, because of well design. It was one of those models where it literally was saying, put this here, then put this on top of it, then put this on top of it. I'm like, okay, well, I should glue this, but I want to dry fit it to make sure it fits. Put it together, put it together, put it together, let it go, and I went, it's together. I don't need any glue for this. So they're definitely going in the right direction. That being said, Privateer Press has a wonderful customer service thing where if for any reason one of your models doesn't go together, is missing a piece, or is just melted, you contact them, you show them a picture of the model that you got that's missing the piece, is melted, whatever, and they will ship you a new piece free of charge because it was their error that this isn't working.
Well, in all fairness,
So-
Games Workshop has a very similar policy
Absolutely.
as well, yeah.
Absolutely.
Speaking
So,
on just that policy there, I can say this. In the last about a year, I've ordered a lot of privateer press. I've had a very large Sigmar army built up and painted. And in the last year, I've had to order back, I think 3 times, pieces that were forgotten or damaged that were in a box. Very well taken care of. Got my pieces right away. I've been buying Games Workshop products for 20 years. And years ago, every now and then, I'd have to call customer support, give a product number, and say this sprue was missing or whatnot. Very minor. In the last 5 years or so, I buy an awful lot. Not one mistake.
I think the only place in the Games Workshop line that we've seen potential errors with that was with finecast. And that was more...
Finecast don't count.
It's unfortunate to say that. And I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me on this one, but I actually really liked finecast.
Okay, all jokes aside, so when all the hate started with finecast, I didn't buy a lot of finecast back then. Most of my finecast was bought in the last year. And the finecast that I have bought really wasn't that bad. I don't like it like if your arm was like this, there'd be a little piece of resin right here.
Yeah.
That's just part of the way it's molded. I hate that part of the finecast, but other than that, finecast really isn't that bad.
the thing
Other
that-
than
I will say the only thing that I have a problem with finecast is that it could be an arm doing this, and it will have 9 pieces of resin attached to it that you need to clip off and trim because
And that's fair enough. I mean, the fact that they had to release a tool for
Yeah.
cleaning off finecast, that does speak towards it. But all these horror stories I kept reading about Finecast, and the obvious meme of failcast and whatnot. I never personally saw anything to justify that, and admittedly, anecdotal.
I think I'm with you on that one, but we all kind of picked on it because it was fun to pick on it.
Yeah.
People love to pick on Games Workshop, yeah. But yeah, all my Finecast stuff, I absolutely love it, except for my Melty Crow. Don't put Finecast in brake fluid. It will melt your model.
He did do that here. Oh, I do have a Finecast Necron Overlord, where he's got one war scythe kind of like this, and it's got ridges all the way down the war scythe, and kind of like it's hard to explain, but I'll explain in a second exactly how it is. It just keeps snapping. But every one of these little sections are exactly the size of one of our magnets. I put a magnet there, and then I paint over it. And then
I actually heard that of all the kits, the Necron Overlord was one of the more.
That's the one that always breaks. I don't like using him. He sits in the corner of the box, and nothing. You got a little wall around him. Nothing
touches him
because he just breaks like that. Other than that, Finecast, I haven't had a problem.
But overall, I mean, it's one of the nicer materials I have worked with. It's soft enough, but it's still durable.
I like Games Workshop's plastics.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're hard plastic. Yeah.
Excluding Games Workshops because clearly they're the big fish. Which miniature producer would you say is second in just the quality of miniatures that they produce that you guys have had experience with?
I've recently been loving the new line of Corvus Belli stuff from Infinity. Like if you look at some of their older stuff, you get these really weird proportions, and it's a little odd. But some of their new stuff, like they've been redesigning a whole bunch of sculpts over the past year. Like they redesigned a whole bunch of their Morats, and they're going through some new ones right now. And I love them. The way they're put together, there's so little flash that needs to be cleaned off. The mold lines aren't really problematic. The only real pain for those ones is the small contact points.
Yeah.
So I mean they're great to work with in all regards except for those really small contact points.
Ask Matt about those.
I really.
No, I had a mold brigada sitting on my desk. He went to pick it up, and he's got little antennae sticking off his head.
Snapped it off.
And he picked it up by that, and it went snap. He goes, puts it down and walks away from it. I was like, Matt, you broke my model. He's like, no, I didn't. He's like, what away from me. So I was like, oh, okay.
I like metal models. So I can get behind that opinion of them being just better. I like painting metal models.
I just hate cleaning them.
That's the thing. Yeah. There's something about painting metal is just easier. Unless it's a Space Marine, then it's super easy. But I just like painting metal. Now, when you get models like that, I feel the need to pin absolutely everything. Yeah. So it takes longer to assemble, but I feel comfortable that I can drop a model on this mat. Not a regular table, but a metal model on the mat. It's going to be okay so long as I pinned it correctly.
I challenge you though with the old two-headed Chaos Dragon.
Oh, that didn't even stand up at all.
I remember that was one of the first models I ever put together as a kid.
Like I don't know. You want to talk about model design? Have you seen this model?
Okay. It sounds familiar.
It's a long dragon.
Oh, is that the one that's like his heads are splitting apart?
He's got
two heads. Yeah.
There is no way to balance this model.
Nope.
He is like 80% head heavy. He's not even on the base way back here.
Yeah, he's not even a long model. The problem is that he's because he's so front heavy and the heads go out so far. There's not enough metal on the base.
It's always like.
To make it even worse, though, the two heads connect separately. Like it's not even one piece that's the two heads. You had to glue each one on independently.
So when it fell over, one head broke off.
Yep.
It was just that was I can say, off the top of my head, probably Games Workshop's poor sculpt in that regard. Maybe it'll look good on a 3-up. They did them back at the time when they were.
But as far as assembly goes?
Well, as far as a model goes, it's not usable on the table because you have to measure from the base, but his head's about 4 inches, 5 inches ahead of it.
Just because I love bringing it up, I'm actually going to bring up old school Nagash. He was not usable on the table.
No, he was fine. He was amazing. He looked awesome.
Old school Nagash. It's good!
Look him up if you haven't seen him. Look ridiculous.
Oh, it's just great.
One thing I'm going to say about plastic models, though, is that you can drop them and they don't break.
Most of them, like these orcs, you said, they're going to be okay. Most Space Marines are okay. My Eldar are all okay.
Yeah.
Ooh, Eldar. They were a model, the old Guardian kit, I hated putting them together. I had so many limbs attached to my fingers trying to glue them together. I guess I was younger, too, at the time, trying to get those assembled together, but I hated some of the old Eldar models.
I'm going to say the Harlequin ones are probably the most annoying right now to get them to stand up because you put one down, it's just like, boop. Okay, stand up, don't move.
And they're light.
Yeah. But they're all the weight is at the very top of their base. So if you put them on something that has
dynamically jumping off of something, so they're very, very top heavy.
So if you put them on like even the slightest incline, they're just like, oh, I wonder what the ground tastes like.
But they're such great models.
Oh, they're
really
very
are.
pretty.
They really are.
Yeah. And then that is one thing I'll say about the new CAD design stuff. As much as I miss the old multi-part plastic kits that we used to see where...
I like the old flat cast. Everybody's like this.
I wasn't a big fan of that, but what I really miss about having made the switch to the CAD designs is that it feels with the CAD design models, every piece has its partner, and you can still sort of modify and convert and all that sort of stuff, but it means more work on our end. Whereas you take the old multi-part kits from like the old, say, Imperial Guard or even the older Space Marines, there wasn't as much of a need to make sure you match the right set of legs with the right torso or the right pair of arms with the right weapon. And I feel like we're seeing more and more of that with the new CAD
Well, you
design
see that
kits.
with the Space Marines, especially lately, that everything, like you buy kits for bits now. You buy Stern Guard for weapons. You buy Vanguard veterans for options, for weapon bits. I love how everything's interchangeable. I mean, that's how it should be, but...
But it's more kits like
20% of the weapons these orcs have are normally on bikers because I just didn't have the weapons to do it in the kit.
Oh, really? So what's on the...
You'll see about, if you actually look at them, 10 of them have knob heads instead of regular heads, so they're about twice the size of a regular head.
Okay, good. Why did you not get enough heads?
Nope, like that guy, for example.
Why would you not get enough heads?
I don't know. That didn't get enough heads.
That doesn't seem right.
that seems a little
Okay,
weird.
Mothership Lair. When you buy a Games Workshop kit, you should have enough bits to make every model.
I didn't have enough heads to do it. I didn't want them all to have like crazy hair going on because they're supposed to look like war boys, right? So I had to,
you wanted the bald guys.
and I didn't have enough bald guys. So I was like, all right, let's grab some parts from other places and do that. So that's what I did. And now there's a couple knob heads in
So
there.
every guy has a slug and a chopper, right? Mm-hmm. Is there any reason to not play slug and chopper? Can you shoot us?
Shooters, you can get extra range in their Assault 2 as opposed to Assault 1.
But they're still hitting on fives, right?
Oh yeah, you're always hitting on 5s.
Yeah.
Unless there's like an item that war bosses can get that if they stand still, they can shoot at ballistic skill 3. But
Oh boy.
you know what? I would just rather throw as many dice as I possibly can and pick out the 5s and 6s and be like, one dice, I need a 3. Because,
True enough.
yeah.
I
And then-
like playing the orc so far.
Loving it. Loving it.
Yeah.
I have a positive win ratio.
It's true.
Yeah.
So even now, sorry to say, guys, none of Quirk's battle reports have been uploaded yet. At
And-
all. You got, what, 20 now?
Yeah, I have 20 battle reports.
Chris has finally finished his intro, so you're about to get flooded with them soon. So you get to see some bunch of orc battle reports with Quirk learning the game, learning the army, and doing a pretty good job of it, too.
And seeing all his opponents feel bad for him. And then realize, oh god, what just happened?
Yeah. I feel bad that I have to play orcs. They're winning.
You've assembled quite a bit of bikes, a lot of boys, and you're converting a war truck of a Morkanaut right now.
Yep.
How do you find assembling these are? And keep in mind that for most part, these kits are a little bit older than some of the stuff that we're kind of assembling right now.
Yep.
But
You
this
know what?
is Games Workshop.
I'm going to have a jaded opinion here. Before I did these guys, I built Harbinger.
Fair enough.
So I was like, oh, I just want to try and build something easy. So I went to the bikes. I was just like, this is the greatest model ever to build. So I built 10 of them. Got them done. One thing, if you're ever building bikes, just recommendation for painting, don't put the guns on until after you're done painting everything.
Yes, you
Because, yeah.
Why do you recommend that?
Because there's no way that you're going to be able to reach some of the angles
I see what
with
you're
the gun in the
Look
way.
at how much it actually covers up.
Yeah, especially when you get like this guy, for example. He's got 2 barrels going.
Yeah, but see, what happened here is you've done painted some racing stripes and stuff on the spot that you can't really see anymore now.
Yeah, but unless someone, like, you're looking there, you can see the racing stripes. That's all that matters.
I guess that's true.
So, and then, like, the Pink Ranger with their flames. Okay, one thing I did. I asked everyone in the office, I need some colors for a motorcycle. So, somebody was like, oh, paint a black one. Oh, paint a red one. Do something with fire. Okay, do a camo one. Okay. I asked Justin. He goes, paint a pink one.
Justin's colorblind, so...
The only color he can really see is pink, so I'm like, okay. So I painted it up for him, and now I have the Pink Ranger, is what I call her, because I have...
With a power claw?
With a power claw. If you ever see my battle reports, the one that's actually using a power claw is...
That's her?
That's it. Because I can pick him out on the board pretty quickly. So...
Huh.
But assembling.
Assembling is an absolute dream. Everything goes
Easy?
through... Everything's super easy. There's very little cleanup on any of them. Like, the actual flak that was on the models, if there was any, was very minor. Cleaning it up was no problem. Even, like, me cutting parts off that weren't supposed to be cut off. Like, there's all the boys here are bald, but the actual kits themselves, they all have little hair and
Yep.
like mohawk stuff like that. Cut those off. They came. I would just cut it. Didn't even need to shave it down. It was perfectly smooth, and that's I think thanks to the plastic itself. It's like it knew where I wanted it to cut.
As far as Flash goes, you're getting almost none with Games Workshop. If well, you didn't even say none really. I haven't had Flash on Games Workshop in a long time.
They've been doing a really good job hiding mold lines and hiding flash and whatnot.
I had some crazy mold lines on this. I actually had to bring out my mold line shaver for these things for whatever reason. Again, different plastic. I don't know what's going on there.
I wonder if they outsourced this one.
You know what?
Speculation. We're never gonna know.
Yeah, this isn't the first time that like I've seen a couple things online saying that you know what, depending on where it's made, has been a bit of an issue, and apparently they have been outsourcing some of their work.
Okay.
So some of the outsources that are coming in aren't as good as the ones that are produced
Could
locally.
that be? This is all speculation. Could that be the reason why we heard rumors that these are going to be limited release? We're not going to have them again.
Well, that's what I'm
Who
wondering.
knows?
That's what I'm wondering.
But please do comment below if you have assembled these or bought these. Talking about Flash a bit more. Private Press, I find, had a lot of it.
They do. The thing is, they're metal models now. Not very much. Like you,
The plastics, though.
the plastics most certainly do. I picked up the Haley model for you.
Yes.
Did you get a chance to look?
I
at
haven't
it?
even opened it up yet.
No. Okay. I took a look at it. I'm sorry.
Nice plastic
I'm sorry. I
and
opened.
metal.
I opened
Did
your
you?
package beforehand because I was just like, I want to see this model. I want to see how it goes together. The actual plastic resin parts has a little bit of flash to it. The metal part is almost perfectly clean.
Okay.
And I was surprised. I was looking at it going, I kind of want one of these. So I was thinking about buying one myself. I was like, no, I'll just borrow
Wait,
Steve's.
I have to admit, I'm
borrow
not even a War
Steve's.
Machine player, but I was been looking at the new Haley model, and I'm kind of thinking I kind of want one to paint one.
It does look. They do have some really, really nice sculpts.
I just don't care for the jacks.
The new
You know what? Say at first, neither did I. They have really grown on me, especially the Signar ones. Like Dynamo was, I loved painting that model. Dynamo is a new character jack for Signar, and I can't wait to actually buy the new Colossal, but more importantly, the new Reliant and its chassis because I want like that sculpt. I mean,
The thing
I
is,
like it.
all warjacks look like bodybuilders who skipped leg day.
Yes,
Yep.
yes.
Yeah. And
But I
I
mean,
think-
that's their thing.
But I think that's something that kind of bothers me, like that sort of weird, imbalanced, top-heavy look. Just like I look at the solos and I look at the infantry for War Machine and Hordes, and I absolutely love, like I would say, 80% of the models.
That's pretty cool.
I love them. Like here's the thing, I love the Harbinger. The model itself is
You
gorgeous. I won't. I'll learn to hate her.
I wanted it too, and I was just like, I got a Harbinger model. 2 hours into building, I was just like, I don't. Why am I? No, why? Why is this a thing? Her feet's not even that good. No, her feet's amazing, but her feet's not even that good. It's not worth this.
And it's something that's always kind of bothered me about Privateer Press's models, that how can I love so much of the line and hate so much of the line at the same time? Because I really don't like the jacks.
Again, I only bought them because I worked here, and one of the games we covered, we played, and it's growing on me. I actually I will never get rid of my Signar Army. I said it before. I really like the army. I like the models, I like the sculpts. They do a decent job. They do a good job sculpting. I'm not saying they're decent. They make good models. Now, I have at zero time. You guys have both played with some Infinity stuff. How are they for assembling? I know they're tiny for painting, but how are they for assembling? How are they for cleaning?
Let me hold your hand up for a second. So you're gonna have some trouble.
Yeah, they're tiny.
They're very. I have tiny fingers, and I'm going at it like, and I just glued myself to the model.
Yeah,
Okay.
I just actually got through assembling some the Yu Ching Japanese sectorial box just before we started filming this, and just the little fiddly bits like putting sword sheaths onto them. Like I probably glued my thumb more than I glued the model itself. I think it's hit and miss though.
Yeah.
With the Infinity models, the newer stuff really rather easy to do. There's not as much problems.
One thing I'm noticing is that the pewter, like, they're all metal now, but a lot of the older ones, it was like, here's a flat surface, you need to glue it to this flat surface.
Yeah.
And that was how you put them all together because that was the way it's supposed to look.
And you
now
need to
it's,
score it to make sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
And now it's, here's this groove, this needs to line up in this groove,
Yeah, that's
and
not
that's
bad.
how it glues.
That's not bad.
And
Yeah, so they're learning.
they're learning from it, and they're learning, like, you know what, we need to kind of give some guidelines here because our models don't look proper when people are building them because they're shifting, they're not gluing properly. So these scores, these grooves are actually holding the model long enough for it to glue and making it easier for people with chubby fingers.
Yeah, and it's actually kind of exciting because they just got through Gen Con, obviously. Like anyone watching this, you know that just finished up, and looking at some of the upcoming sculpts and designs that they have for it, you're really seeing the evolution of model design. And it's kind of cool because I was not around with playing Games Workshop games when they were really doing a lot of their early evolution. I missed Privateer Press, early evolution and whatnot. So this is the first time I've been able to really watch a company go from
What are we
very
going to
early
get to play with
models.
10 years from now?
Sorry?
What are we going to play with 10 years from now?
It'd be a
Look how good they
hollow.
look
It'd be a
now.
hollow thing. All right, here's my stuff. Blah.
It's all going to be video games.
One more group of miniatures I have assembled recently. I did a little bit of Malifaux. True scale, tiny plastics aren't the easiest thing to assemble properly.
I'd imagine. I remember you telling me, didn't you pin the ever living bejesus out on one of them?
No, that was
Nis Hunters.
the Nis Hunters.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Nis Hunt, not doing it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or 8 pins per model in Nis Hunters.
Oh, that's insane.
Malifaux, very, very nice sculpts, but I almost think the scale is a little bit too small for how thin some of the parts are on the plastic, which makes it. I actually broke quite a few of my models trying to assemble it properly.
You've seen my Lord Chompy bits that I have on my desk, right?
Yes, he's a little bit different. He's a bigger guy.
He's a bigger guy, but the thing is, you can see the mold line, like the joining, not the mold line even, just like the joining line from his wrist here, and you can see it go all the way up his arm, all the way up behind his head, down this arm. There's one that goes all the way down his back. When I assembled him and I had him on the table, I was like, those don't seem that big. Primer will probably cover that up. Primed it, and I went, that made it worse. Because
Really?
it's just, they are
See,
divots.
I think Malifaux leans more to an arty, more like I really like their style, what they're going for. I like the way the model looks, especially the nightmare type stuff and all like the what are they called?
Oh,
So
the
Lord Chompy bits is one of them.
the Neverborns.
The Neverborns.
Yep.
I like that style of model. It just seems to me that they don't lend well to the
scale?
The fat fingered.
So the
Yeah.
scale.
The scale.
Yeah, the scale.
But guys, that makes up our 30 minutes. Vault members, go ahead and click the link below. It'll take you to the second part of the reroll, where we're going to be covering something. Probably continuing this conversation
Yeah,
a
we'll
little
go
bit.
through this conversation and we'll head on to other areas.
Probably cover a little bit on what we've been working on. If you're not already a Vault member, go ahead and click that link anyway. It'll give you access to a 7-day free trial where you get to see the continuation of this video, as well as all the stuff behind the scenes, our open vaults, Chris's painting tutorials, as well as all the extra battle reports that we produce here. And until then, guys, happy wargaming.